This episode is sponsored by the Topeka Newsletter, your master list of all local events happening in the Topeka area.
Whoop, whoop.
1821. Yeah, you got a lot of time.
Yeah,
We're going to be like, welcome to talk about Topeka. It's not the micro machine. It's not the real thing. Like, that's how we're going to start the show.
Excuse me.
We're with Sarah Fizell from Arts Connect. How you doing, Sarah?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, we're excellent, as always. What are we doing?
We of course have humongous things to talk about.
Yeah,
Arts Connect is obviously, doing some great things in our community. And we also realized that the arts is also helping economically in our community.
The arts are the 7th largest employer in the city of Topeka.
That's pretty great. I know if you think about it, if you start going down through who all the employers are in the city of Topeka, that's amazing that artists actually can, provide a living for themselves, but also provide something for the public.
Yep.
This is backed up with statistical data now. So tell us about...
Economists from Georgia Tech. I mean, we're not talking like I figured this out
Like
in
some
my basement.
random guy.
she had an abacus.
Because
Yeah, it's all about the abacus.
she's going to get you every time.
We contracted with an organization called Americans for the Arts, and they own economic models that they work on with these Georgia Tech economists to model our economy, and they do it for each city they work with. So it's not just, so we don't use the same one that they use for Des Moines, that they use for St. Louis. They're all specific based on how much, it's an economic term called leakage, how much money bounces around before it leaves our local economy. So for example, local spending is less leaky than like if you buy something at Walmart.
Or McDonald's.
Or something that is a large corporate company, because that part of those profits go immediately out of our community, even though they hire local people and do those things. But local businesses, they hire local printers, they hire local employees, they get food locally, some of them, and so that whole thing plays into that support. And because this is nonprofit arts and culture, these are all local businesses.
And we're talking about big money here.
Big money.
I'm looking at $20 million spent on the arts.
Yeah, there's $20 million, almost $21 million, well, $20 million in economic activity. The city itself gets $827,000 directly back to the city in taxes every year from the arts.
We're here with Dan Woodard from Project Topeka. Dan, welcome aboard.
Well, thank you for having me today.
Well, one of my first questions was when you first came in here, I said, so you're the only full-time employee at Project Topeka?
Yes, we have no employees. Actually, we're all volunteers. And that's how it started out 28 years ago, and that's the way it is today.
Okay, well, let's talk a little bit. Let's go back to the beginning. Let's talk about how Project Topeka began.
Well, what is Project Topeka?
Actually, Project Topeka is a community food drive, and we started 28 years ago. Charlie Duran, the AFL-CIO Community Service Liaison with United Way, Jim Olson, he was the Director of Community Resource Councils, and several others. They got together and they was brainstorming. They wanted to do a food drive, and of course none of them really knew how to go about it, when to do it, and they got with Marge Roberts, the late director of Let's Help. And they all knew each other anyway, so Marge set them on the straight and narrow path like she always has, and she said February would be the ideal time. The shelves are always bare in January, but people are getting shell shocked from overspending Christmas.
Right.
And it'd be more success in February. So they started out and they collected everything in ounces. Then it went to pounds, now it's tons. And it's just a great deal, really.
So how many people did you serve really in the beginning?
I know we did about 125 tons, and that's way down. We were at 210 tons in 2001 or two, and then we kind of leveled off to the 180 to 195 tons. And the last couple of years, it's just steadily went down. We've lost a lot of great companies here in Topeka. A lot of people are out of work. One spouse might have lost their job, or the whole family. And all of our food pantries are telling us they're seeing people that used to supply us with food asking for help now.
Yeah.
So is that where people go ahead and they can take in a large donation? They can take it straight to your
Well,
warehouse?
if they call me or email me at, can I do that?
Oh, yeah, sure.
We're all about sandwich shelf pluggery, especially when you're
Yes.
volunteering to help feed people. It's awesome.
Yeah.
They can call 785-228-5112 or email me dan.woodard, WOODARD, at unitedwaytopeka.org. And I can make arrangements to have a volunteer or myself will come by and pick it up.
Talk a little bit about healthcare today on Talk About Topeka. We're here with Karla Hedquist from Shawnee County Medical Society Health Access. How you doing, Karla?
I'm great. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, thank you for being here. It's just a lovely day here in Topeka, and we want to talk a little bit about health.
And for people, I think there's a lot of people out there. I know that, Obamacare has come out and people were able to get in on the exchanges, but there's always going to be some people that are not quite there.
That is correct. Kansas did not expand Medicaid, and so for those people who aren't eligible for Medicaid because they make too much, and for those people who don't qualify for a federal subsidy, which is over 100% of federal poverty guidelines, so those folks between 38% and 100% have remained uninsured in Kansas. And those are the individuals that health access helps, the working poor.
Well, just kind of give us the elevator speech about what health access is.
Okay, Health Access is a program of the Shawnee County Medical Society. So we are a physician-led program. And it started back in 2002. Physicians would do their rotations in the emergency room and they would see somebody low income uninsured. They would volunteer on site at Marion Clinic and they would see that same patient. They would get a call in their private practice and the same patient would say, "Doctor, I couldn't afford to get my prescriptions. I'm still sick. Can you see me?" And the physicians knew that the records weren't transferring from place to place and that, the worst of all, patients weren't getting well. So they brought this model of charity care to Topeka called Project Access. There's a Project Access in Wichita. That started a couple years before us. There's Wyjo Cares in Wyandotte and Johnson County. So there are only 4 counties in Kansas that are covered by this model of charity care. And basically we coordinate the care that's being donated by our local medical community. That includes physician specialists, it includes both hospitals, labs, inpatient, outpatient, for low-income uninsured residents of Shawnee County.
So it's not always just a general practitioner that you're going to see, and it can be. It's not limited to or anything, but you can also have like an ear, nose, and throat doctor.
Exactly.
That is going strategically for what you need for that, or you need to go to a cardiologist for another thing, and all of these doctors are putting in their time and donating their time for this.
Correct. All of those physicians agree to see a certain number of patients every year. And so our office tracks that. So we would know the number of cardiologists that are donating and who took the last patient and kind of who's up next. So it helps to spread the charity care amongst all of them, which is why the physicians like us, because they know that everybody's doing their part.
And we're going to talk a little bit about poverty and some of the effects of poverty that is going on right in our very own community, but all over the place. We actually have Jesyca Rodenberg here with us.
You didn't tell me where to look. So
It's
hi.
just wherever.
Hi,
There's like
everyone.
a gazillion cameras in this place.
I feel very, very metro.
Hi, everyone.
It's very fun. It's very fun. But you do have your conference on poverty, and this is the 3rd largest conference in the nation.
Right now, that is specifically what is the word I'm thinking? And I'm a communications person on an interview, and the word is just gone right off the bat.
It will come to you.
We're very intimidating people.
Yeah.
You really are. It's all the cameras. What it is there are lots of conferences on hunger. Important topic. Huge topic. Lots of topics, conferences and trainings on homelessness. Huge. Really, really important. Lots of places you can go to a conference to do a training on becoming an advocate, on working for a nonprofit. Huge. Great. What we are doing is bringing a conference on poverty. And you can't talk about poverty unless you're talking about the minimum wage. And you can't talk about the minimum wage unless you're talking about childcare. And you can't talk about childcare unless you are talking about education. And you can't talk about education unless you are talking about public transportation. Because how school buses run is directly tied into with how city buses run. And you cannot talk about public transportation unless you are talking about jobs, and you cannot talk about jobs unless you're talking about the minimum wage, and it all goes in a big circle, and it's all connected. And what we do at the Kansas Conference on Poverty is say it's all connected. Let's figure out how we can connect, and how we can connect, and how we can work together to solve the big puzzle and solve the little puzzles. Because sometimes a solution to poverty is simply providing childcare at a technical area college. And I've worked with some schools in Kansas where they realized the solution to their student success was as simple as, we need to offer childcare on campus. Between 18 and 65, half of us are going to hit poverty at one time or another. It's going to impact everyone, because if half of us are experiencing poverty, the other half of us know someone in poverty.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, and if you're experiencing that poverty of you don't have your car, how are you going to get to work? And if you're experiencing that poverty of
you don't have good childcare,
you didn't have good childcare, let's just make it this simple. And we can talk about SNAP, we can talk about food stamps all you want, and raise it, cut it. Okay, that's an issue. But here's the thing. Almost 50% of food stamp recipients, and food stamps now called SNAP, are children. If those children are going hungry and they're in your child's classroom, you can't tell me that child's hunger doesn't impact your child's learning, which means poverty is everybody's issue.
Sure.
When we fight poverty, we improve school outcomes, we increase the tax base, we build entrepreneurs. I mean, one of our conference partners is the Go Topeka Entrepreneurial Minority Business Development Program, because that is one of the solutions to poverty. We're not giving up on starting your own business, going back to school. There isn't one solution to poverty. There are people making solutions to poverty.
Yeah, and I think that's how, we're going to get to the conference. We'll do that when we come back after the break. But first, I wanted to touch on, how Chris is a little, he's a little apprehensive about, minimum wage and how does that kind of thing work, and that affects his business.
Delicate economy.
It is
very delicate.
It is very delicate, and I do understand that to some point. But also with people, do you find answers at the conference? Like, how does that work?
And what do you do with those answers to get some results?
If you're a small business owner who comes to see that, okay, I could raise the minimum wage to this, why are you waiting on policy? Go ahead and raise.
Why don't we just start? Yeah.
Then pay more, or offer childcare, or do you know what's a great solution that small business owners can embrace? Just pay time off for when your kids are sick. So I think it's 60% of hourly wage workers don't have that flexibility to take time off when their kids are sick. So either they lose their job or they're sending their kids to school sick. And what do we hear when flu season comes around or the measles are out?
Sick.
And they're saying, please don't send your kids to school because it's not helping the whole community. Simply the flexibility to offer your hourly employees the time without penalty to stay home and take care of their sick kids. Imagine what that could do to just one family, and then if that family, and then the community. I mean, we look at what SCOTUS did on Monday. I heard a lot of people on both sides of it really angry, really upset, really excited, still really confused, and they all went to Facebook. And I was like, did any of you actually call your representative? How many of you were involved along the way? Let's get people involved again. So whether it's making a change in your business, making a change in your advocacy, making a change in how you talk to one another, making a change in how you treat people. And it is kind of the Warren Buffett model, but we have a lot of people making a lot of assumptions about what we think we know about somebody when they take out their SNAP card at the grocery store.
Yeah.
And it's like if we can change just those little things, if we can change what type of food you donate to harvesters or your local food bank.
Yeah.
If you could spend $2 extra to buy the whole grain noodles instead of the 50-cent mac and cheese.
Yeah.
You know, and let's talk about making healthy food choices. If you start volunteering, we've got 2 sessions on human trafficking. That is a huge problem, it's a huge problem in Kansas, and it's a huge problem directly related to poverty. If those 2 sessions just get you trained on what to look for, you're gonna save a life. And if you tell me that's not a way to fight poverty, then I guess I quit, because I don't know what to do.
Yeah, don't quit. We don't want you to quit.
Those are the changes at every level we're going to be asking you to make, and that's literally 1/5 of the topics we're going to talk about at the conference.
Okay, so tell us what we have going on in July.
All right. Well, first of all, we have 2 huge things that go on in July: Sunflower State Games. This year will probably be bigger than last year. Every year it just seems to grow. They always add a lot of different things to it. So this year, July 11th through the 27th, Topeka is going to be packed because we have people from all over the state of Kansas, and there's probably other states involved as well. Field of Greens, the Breakery, we've been a sponsor of it for years. So we are pretty proud of supporting the Sunflower State Games. And this is something that is actually could be anywhere in Kansas. If you watch the media and stuff like that, you don't realize that the city has to bid on this. They have to offer to the Sunflower State Games to keep it in here. And we just actually...
So it's a prize.
Well, think about the
yeah.
revenue it brings to Topeka. Think about the heads that it puts on beds. Think about the tax generate.
Heads on beds.
Heads on beds.
Business owner right there.
No, think about the taxes generated from the people who are in town eating at the restaurants, supporting the businesses, the hotels,
shopping.
All of the attractions we have, they're here to support them while they're here. And it's huge.
And this is something that if the city council and all those people didn't contribute something to it, Visit Topeka always helps with it, that it could go to Kansas City, it could go to Wichita, it could go anywhere. It's not something
it's
that...
It's a very competitive market
owned
with things
by
like
Topeka.
that. People want things like this. So
and I do believe that we renewed
them.
the contract.
I think so.
And I don't have the details of like how many years and stuff like that, but I do know that it was up for bid, and last year they had said yes.
We're a very lucky community to have Sunflower State Games here.
But also too, they have like a gazillion things that you can sign up for.
Absolutely.
I was just out at the Taste of Kansas. Is that what it was called in Wamego?
Yes.
So I went out there and they had somebody out there signing up. You could sign up for just about everything. There were a few things you couldn't quite sign up for, but they had really like cut rates.
Yeah.
You know, and you can get in on some really fun sports.
Oh, definitely. And like I said, every year they add different things to the list. But you know, you automatically have like your baseball, your basketball, and your bikes, and your running, and your cycling. This endless list of stuff going on. There's fishing.
Wait, what?
Fishing derby. The fishing derby. Yes.
What do you do? You see who can catch
archery.
the most fish?
We have an archery club in Topeka, so we do have a place where you can go do that. So you can do 3D and you can do target.
I love to know that people are coming to the capital city, and this means we need to kick it in high gear and start showing people what we have.
Yeah, definitely. So
There's been a big change in that, and we're seeing
I'm going to kick it in high gear for my fishing derby that I'm ready to.
You know what I want to talk about is the Fiesta that's coming up. It's huge.
Yeah. There's a carnival there. They have
it's a live
I think you can stop at food.
Eating contest.
I'm willing to wait in line
Right.
for a very long time for tacos to go to the Fiesta, and I'm excited about it.
And you know that the money goes to a good cause.
Absolutely.
too.
Yeah. Well, and they've changed it because they built the new building there. So really, before you stood in this long line out in the sun.
Yeah.
Then you went over and stood in the long line to get your food, and then you had to sit outside in the sun, and it was because normally Fiesta week is about 102, 103 degrees. It's kind of cool.
I got a call in making it 72.
It's kind of cool.
72.
Is that what you
It's
just
sunny.
said?
Yeah, it's 102. It's not raining. I mean,
This girl is a diehard. I am like an AC baby.
I know.
too.
But
I'll
now
just
the
sit in the car and wait.
new building, you get to go inside and eat in the AC. So
That's right.
That's what I'm saying is you can get up,
Spoiled.
get their tickets, and take it home. We usually go and get there kind of early so we get in line, get our food, and then we go back in line and then we grab another.
Well, you know, those are the culture things too. My brother and his wife, they live in DC, and just down the street they have a Greek Orthodox church that does this big Greek fest. And that's what you do. You have these like neighborhood festivals, and you walk around and you say hello to people, you know, year after year, and you get the good food, you know.
Well, and
that's so cool.
Oakland has two, because they have German Fest, which I went to last month, which was a whole weekend, and then they have the Fiesta, and you're just like, how do you?
Did that include the jail time, the whole weekend?
The jail time? Yeah. Was I in jail?
It was posted on Facebook. No, I'm just kidding.
She didn't call me for bail money. No bail money here. We're here with Charlie Barber. He is an artist, musician. It's great to have you, man. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Really glad to have you here today. Very talented. You're the one-man band guy.
Well, I try to be.
Yeah,
So,
you're doing a lot of work now.
well, I've been trying to. I play at. I've been doing a jam session at the Lazy Toad.
Yeah. When does that happen?
That's every Thursday night from 7 to 11. It's semi-acoustic. It's mostly acoustic, but it's a little bit electric if anybody wants to show up. But it's open to everybody. It's open mic. We have a good time.
We kind of found a niche there, in what you're doing, especially how you actually made the instruments to make that happen. That's pretty cool.
Well, it just kind of happened. I don't know. I never really planned it, but
that's the best. I think that's how the best things happen. Self-taught. That's why you're not thinking inside a traditional box there.
Definitely not that.
Yeah.
If I could do a couple of shameless plugs, that'd be awesome.
I think that's exactly what we're here for.
Well, Friday night, which I guess is tonight,
Uh-huh.
right? I'm playing at Specs Tavern.
Yeah.
I do that. Well, on my little poster I made up, I put 8:30ish to 12:30ish.
That's a good way to do it.
Well, they have a dinner crowd.
Yeah.
And we kind of have to wait till the crowd thins out a little bit.
The ginormous burger that they had.
Right.
It's like a pizza burger.
So, we shoot for 8:30, and sometimes it might start at 9, but I'll do 4 good hours. And if anybody wants to come in and play, I'll let them play. I always set up an extra mic and my guitar chords or whatever,
Yeah.
And so I'm going to be doing that every 2 weeks. And talking to Todd, who runs Lazy Toad, that will evolve to where we're going to go inside. Right now it's out on the patio.
Oh.
Which is wonderful setting.
It's a beautiful way
beautiful.
for it, yeah.
Yes, it's really nice. And it might evolve into more of a full band type, jam type thing. I'll just kind of see how things progress.
One day at a time.
Yeah.
That's how you get the great stuff.
So, but that gives me 6 gigs a month, and then I play other deals, parties, and then my band, Mark and the Sharks, we play. Like the Kickstart and places like Hog Hauler Saloon that we used to be the old Apple Valley Farm.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a great place too, by the way.
Yeah, it's great to just kind of get out there.
Yeah.
Go to the
So,
lake.
with all that, I keep pretty busy.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I certainly do appreciate you giving us some of your time.
Oh,
You got a
yeah.
busy
No, this
schedule.
is great. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Come back and chat with us anytime you
Okay,
like.
I'd love to.
Yeah, that's Charlie Barber. You can know him as the one-man band here. Right? a good
hopefully.
description.
Yeah.
Again, thank you so much for joining us.
You bet.
You bet, and have a good one.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Visit talkabouttopeka.com to hear full interviews of all our guests. Connect with us anytime on Facebook and Twitter, of course. Listen live and hear more from Chris and Jamie at 7 to 8 a.m. every weekday on the Big Talker, KMAJ 1440. And keep talking about Topeka.
Does my hair look weird? Like, are any pieces sticking out funny?
No.
Okay.
That's
Fine. Okay, I know I have flyaways.